So I guess one of the things that you want to do when you think about confidence is you maybe want to ask why. Why take the time to build confidence? Because in any endeavour, you've got to understand where the benefit is, why, what the result is, what you should strive towards. And one of the things that, if you haven't noticed, you probably pick this up intuitively when you speak to someone who has confidence, or you just watch the way they move, because there's things that they'll have, those characteristics of confident people. They will appear very relaxed. They'll feel very, very comfortable doing something that you might feel uncomfortable if you were doing it yourself. They will have an energy about them, just a sort of aura of, comfort, strength, certainty, surety. They'll have these sorts of characteristics. And you can't help but be drawn to someone like that. They're very engaging. They're very good to listen to. Some of the things that they come up with, you think, you just tend to find that they're more interactive. It's very easy to listen to them, and you can find a certain degree of a draw or an attraction to that confidence. So I would say one of the big reasons that you should probably consider building your confidence is that outwardly your interactions will be much more well received. Inwardly, the things that happen to you when you become more confident is you get rid of things like unnecessary doubt. And I use the word unnecessary there because there is things that doubt is very, very well placed. It should be considered. But that shouldn't be used in every situation, because I'm sure you'll have experienced where you've had massive doubts and you blew something out of proportion, and you end up realising that it was all for nothing. You go and achieve the task, whatever it is you were going to do, and you go, hey, there was nothing really to worry about. So confident people don't tend to have that happen to them, because they generally look at things very, very positively. They have a can-do sort of approach. In their mind, they ask the question not what could go wrong, but they tend to ask the question, well, how can I make this work? And that's what starts that inward approach, starts that outward energy interaction where you can see they exude that from themselves, and it's asking these questions inside your brain that matters the most. So what that will breed inside you is a degree of confidence. You'll approach situations with a bit more enthusiasm, a bit more energy. You'll tend to not get hampered by obstacles, or if something pops up or there's a little adversity along the way, you'll continue motoring towards your objective, and that each little step that you take matters a lot. It's not the huge leap where you get the confidence. What happens is the confidence happens in stages, and that's where the expression confidence builds, because each little step you build your confidence, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's not 0 to 1, it's more like 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to the end result where you feel confident about a situation. So inwardly, it can give you a sense of strength. It can give you a sense of belief in yourself. It can give you a sense of value in what you do. It can give you a sense of optimism, which is always good. Outwardly, it can mean that you're well received, you're well heard, and that people will look to you for that energy and interaction that your confidence exudes. So that's why I think confidence is important, and it's very worthwhile considering. No matter which stage you're at, it's worthwhile building. An interesting side note is that I remember the very first sort of self-help book style that I ever read. I still remember where I was. I was in Asda, and I was, young guy. I think he was maybe 19 or 20 years old, and I stumbled past this. I was in Asda, got to get something for my tea, my dinner, and past the sort of bookshelf, and I thought, well, we'll see what there is. And there was a hypnotist that was famous at the time, still very much famous, but he was on the TV, and his name was Paul McKenna. And Paul McKenna, is, by his own description, is not what you would call a male model material. He's got glasses, bald head, nothing wrong with that, but he said himself he wasn't sort of cover model material, and he's got a Ferrari, stays in Kensington. At the time he had a supermodel girlfriend, and you go, well, I wonder how he's doing this. And his book that he brought out was called Instant Confidence. And anyone that knew me at the time would have thought that there was nothing I needed to learn about confidence, because outwardly I appeared that very, very confident. And I guess to some degree I was, but it didn't leave me with feeling that I couldn't learn something. And I thought, well, this is worth a read. This guy's doing pretty well. He's saying that he's getting disproportionate results with his life, his relationships, with his endeavours and what he's doing, the car he's driving, where he's staying. It's worth finding out how he did it. And within that book was detailing, not only from his experiences but also his expertise as a hypnotist, the steps that you could take to become more confident. So even back then, and even the most confident people are always trying to improve. And Paul McKenna, the big takeaway from that book is that before you could have anything outside in the outside world, it needed to happen inside your mind. So you needed to have these thoughts, and these thoughts about what it would be like if you were more confident. What would it be like if you were approaching the situations confidently? What would it be like if you felt that you couldn't fail at anything, and you were building a picture, and you were having these feelings about what it was, what it would be like, and putting yourself in your imagination. You were putting yourself there like it was really happening. And that was the power of the book. And the book was essentially laying out the template of how you get this sort of thing in your mind. Very, very powerful stuff. And I still remember it came with a CD in the back, and it was a CD that you would play just before you went to sleep, and it was part of the sort of neuro-linguistic programming, some of the hypnosis techniques, and it was also just generally a good listen. It found it very, very helpful at the time. I was in a high performance environment, so you were looking for any edge at all, any edge that you could get. If you could get even 1% better, if it meant reading through a book, highlighting it, listening to an audio CD, you would do it, because you were just looking for that little bit more performance. You're always looking for the performance outwardly, but also how could you feel